Okay, let's just jump right in with a statement that might sound a little wild right now. By 2026, the whole idea of using these massive 70 billion parameter models for everyday stuff, it's going to be over. The future isn't about getting bigger, it's about getting smaller, faster, and running exactly where you need it to.
I absolutely love this quote because it just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures how kind of absurd the whole AI space is at the moment. We are using these unbelievably powerful, incredibly expensive engines for tasks that just don't need that kind of firepower. It's a huge waste of resources, and frankly, it's costing developers and companies a fortune. So, I have to ask you directly. Are you renting a Ferrari just to drive to the corner store? Are you just burning cash on cloud API calls for things that you could be doing way faster, way cheaper, and, more securely? It's time we take a really hard look at that. And this brings us to what I call the fat model trap. It's this assumption that's been drilled into us that to get top-tier intelligence, you need a top-tier massive model for every single thing. But the reality, for probably 90% of what you're actually doing, you absolutely do not. I mean, just look at the contrast here. It's night and day. On one side, you're basically trapped by a cloud provider, your costs can just skyrocket without warning, and you're handing over control of your data. But on the other side, with a self-hosted small language model, an SLM, you are in the driver's seat. The costs are predictable, the data is all yours, and the performance is just snappy because it's right there. So the key here is finding that sweet spot. And right now, today, that sweet spot is in the 3 to 8 billion parameter range. These models have fantastic reasoning power. They often blow older, bigger models like GPT 3.5 out of the water, but they have incredibly low VRAM requirements, and VRAM is just the memory on a graphics card. We're talking about models that can run and run well on a standard laptop with just 16 gigs of RAM. And what this does is create this massive opportunity for any developer or startup that's paying attention. I like to call it the local AI arbitrage. It's all about exploiting the huge difference in cost and performance between, renting your AI by the word and actually owning the whole production line yourself.
And this right here, this is the first major advantage. Once your model is up and running on your own hardware, whether that's your laptop or a cheap server, the cost for each extra request, each inference, is zero. Think about that for a second. Not a fraction of a cent. Zero. Zilch. Okay, advantage number 2, speed. You can easily get over 100 tokens per second on basic consumer hardware, like an RTX 3060 graphics card. This is a total game changer for anything real-time, like a voice agent, where the 20 or so tokens per second you get from a cloud API just feels laggy and honestly a little unnatural. And the third advantage, and for a lot of people this is the most important one, is privacy. When you host it yourself, your data, your intellectual property, your sensitive client info, it never, ever leaves your secure environment. It stays right there in your virtual private cloud. You have absolute control. Total peace of mind. Okay, so we've covered the why. Now let's get to the who. There are a bunch of incredible models in this little sweet spot we've been talking about. So let's meet the top 3 contenders and figure out which champion is the right one for your specific job. First up, we've got the reliable all-rounder, the one you can count on, Llama 3.2 in its 8 billion parameter size. If you just need a solid, dependable foundation for whatever you're building, this is probably where you're going to start. Llama 3.2 really is a workhorse. It's fantastic at following complex instructions, which makes it perfect for building RAG pipelines. And RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation, is just a fancy way of saying you can feed it your own documents, and it will use that specific information to answer questions instead of its own general knowledge. And with an 8,000 token context window, it can handle most jobs you throw at it. Next up, let's meet the dialogue specialist, Qwen 2.5, the 7 billion parameter model. If your main goal is to build a chatbot or some kind of conversational AI, well, this is your champion right here. Qwen 2.5 is just tuned perfectly for back-and-forth chat. It's great at remembering the context of a long conversation, and it has amazing multilingual skills right out of the box. So yeah, this makes it the perfect engine for something like a customer support bot. Plus, it has this massive 32,000 token context window, which allows for way richer, way more detailed conversations. And finally, for all you developers watching, meet your new best friend, DeepSeek 7B. This thing literally eats, sleeps, and breathes code.
Now, DeepSeek isn't just a general model that's kind of good at code. No, it's a coding specialist. It was trained from the ground up on a massive amount of code, meaning it actually understands context across different files in a project. It supports over 300 programming languages, and its performance on code and math is just top tier. If you're building a developer tool or a VS Code extension, this is the model you want, period. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but you're probably wondering, how hard is this to actually do? Well, that's the best part. It is shockingly easy to go from zero to a fully running model in just a few minutes.
First off, I need you to just erase this idea that you need some multi-thousand-dollar supercomputer with an H100 GPU. You don't. You can get started with a dedicated server for about $40 a month from providers like Cherry servers. Or you can literally just run these models right on your own MacBook Air.
The software side is even easier thanks to incredible tools like Llama. It is literally 3 commands in your terminal. You install Llama, you pull the model you want, like say Quinn 7B, and then you run it. And that's it. You now have your own local API server, fully compatible with OpenAI's tools, running on your machine. And this setup is so flexible. It works on your personal laptop, it works on a simple Linux computer with a consumer gaming GPU, it works on those affordable dedicated servers. And for some of the super fast models, you can even run them on servers with no GPU at all, just the CPU. The barrier to entry here has basically just disappeared. So let's bring this all home. Building an AI feature in 2026 is not about picking the single biggest, baddest model. It's about building a smart, efficient stack. It's about picking the right tool for the right job. So here is your final cheat sheet. If you're building a generic chatbot, you're going to want Qwen 2.5 for its amazing conversational skills. If you're making a coding tool, DeepSeek 7B is the undisputed champion. And if you're building a system to work with your own documents, that RAG pipeline we talked about, Llama 3.2 is the reliable workhorse you need. The whole game is shifting right under our feet. The choice for developers now is all about control versus convenience. The future of building amazing AI is small, it is incredibly fast, it respects your privacy, and most importantly, it is yours to control. So what are you going to build with it?